Hey, welcome to D-Lab everyone. In the shop today I have a reissue Fender. It's the Hot Rod Deluxe. The reason I accepted it is the guy was local. He said the output tubes were just flaming out. He needed help. So yep, I'm working on a reissue amp. So during this video we'll repair it and I'll give you guys some tips in case you have the same problem with your reissue Fender. Alright, I've got the amp tilted back with some light on the circuit board so we can see the problems that I'll need to address. So we'll start from left and go across. You can see this resistor here has some hot spots, so more than likely the solder connections on the back side are going to need some help. This thing, as usual, is loaded with those Illinois filter caps, and in my past experience they all leak. And is that the case here? It sure is. So if you take a look up there, you see that brown ooze? It's on all of them. These guys are all leaking, and that is more than likely what's causing the major issues with the amp. Like I said, the output tubes are roasting hot. More than likely the power supply is the cause. Now if you look down here by these two big 5-watt resistors and that diode, you can see more hot spots, and that is in the bias area. So if one of these have worked its way loose, which they do not appear as though they have, you'll lose negative bias, and that will also cause the roasting of your output tubes. So first thing I'm going to do is drop this board out. We're going to change the filter caps, inspect the board, make sure that we repair everything possible because you have to put the board back in to test it. So I've removed all the mounting nuts from the controls, and then there's a string of little black screws you have to remove from the board. And now you just carefully bring this board down, okay? You're going to fight these ribbons, don't pinch them. Getting down, carefully swing him out. See, it's going to hit here on the edge too. So let me cut and take care of this. Alright, I was able to swing it out. You got to be super careful. If you hit the shafts of these pots because they're mounted to the PCB, you'll break the carbon and then you're changing pots out. So be very careful. Take your time. So to change these capacitors, I recommend that you simply get in here with a pair of wire cutters, clip these leads, and then remove the case of the cap. They glued these in. So if you try to unsolder the lead and rock this guy around, you could possibly damage the circuit board. So these are bad anyway. Just clip the leads, get them out of the way, clean the board, and reinstall your new caps. So I've got all the leads clipped, and now I'm going to rock these off the board. This is kind of a soft glue they use, so they will come off. The thing I need to warn you guys about is some of you wrote in and say, hey, I don't even have to pull the caps, I just clip these and I J-hook on top of the board. You know guys, it may work, but if that connection on the circuit board, on the back side that you can't see, is cracked, you may have a failure that comes at you a lot faster than what you think. The new F&T 500 volt filter caps are installed, and I've touched up all the bad solder connections. Everything looks good. I'm going to reinstall the board and test it. So I've removed the old torched groove tubes and installed a nice new set of Tung Sol 6L6s. Bring the amp up. We're going to monitor the bias at the test point that's on the circuit board. Now this bias is actually a division of current through the two tubes. So you're going to set it to about 60 to 70 milliamps, which in this case is displayed in millivolts. They've got that little 1 ohm resistor for monitoring the current. So I preset it, we're pretty close to 60. The amp's on, nice and quiet. The bias is stable. Alright, so let's put a signal through the amp, make sure it's working. I'll play that G chord that Tony taught me. Give her some reverb. See, she's working again. Alright, so the little Fender Hot Rod Deluxe is serviceable again. You know, they're not exactly my favorite amp to work on. That circuit board makes maintenance difficult on these reissue amps. I understand why they did it. They have their purpose. But the good thing is it's working, and you guys got some really good tech tips out of the deal. And that's free from D-Lab Electronics.